Coming up next, folks, on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, we're back, and it's Be the Booker for tomorrow's Royal Rumble pay-per-view. We also look at the question of whether or not Brock Lesnar is on his way out of WWE. Also, what are the plans for Sting and The Undertaker and even Triple H at Wrestlemania? We answer those questions along with the latest from WWE, TNA, and Ring of Honor, and more names for the PWR Wrestlemania weekend events right here, right now on My 24 Milwaukee.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night for Saturday, January 24, 2015, Royal Rumble Eve. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius Tiberius, the alleged backyard one-time knockout sure thing Hall of Famer.
Sure thing, absolutely. What does that mean?
Duckface.
Duckface.
Straight edge.
What do you mean?
Hardcore hero.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Good. You excited to be back here in the studios?
It feels like my second home. I belong here.
Are you excited for the Royal Rumble tomorrow night?
Extremely.
Really?
It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, a lot to talk about this week.
It might be one of the best Royal Rumbles of all time.
Shut your mouth. What?
The Royal Rumble
It hasn't
match.
happened yet.
The match.
It hasn't happened yet. Only 15 names are announced.
Might be. There's at least 30.
No. Well, by the end of the event, there will be, yes.
Of course, there's going to be at least 30.
All right, folks, let's get right down to it. This week's WWE Report. And, well, John Cena this past Monday night on Raw, he wins the matchup with help, though. With help,
He didn't
though.
help. It was a distraction.
By the distraction of one Sting, who is back for the second time ever in WWE, on WWE television at least, and the first time ever on Monday Night Raw. In that win, John Cena gets back the jobs of Ryback, Dolph Ziggler, and Eric Rowan, who also, two of those three, qualified for Royal Rumble participation.
Yes, they did.
2 nights ago on SmackDown.
How about that? How about Sting living in Dallas, Texas, makes his return in his hometown?
Sting lives in Venice Beach, California.
Oh, he used to. He's in Dallas.
Or Malibu Beach, California.
No.
Hogan was Venice Beach.
Hogan was Venice Beach.
Sting was Malibu Beach.
Was it Malibu? I don't remember.
Pineapple.
I know a Malibu.
I'm sure you do. What's your Twitter name?
Mine?
Hers. So Sting, for the first time on Monday Night Raw, a bit of a shock, a bit of a surprise. The crowd chanting Sting, 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 laser focused on the Authority, and they're referring to Sting as the Vigilante, almost like when the Shield came in. They were really aligned with no one.
But they
were there
vigilantes.
for justice.
Well,
It seems like Sting doing something similar.
Sting's kind of like, como se dice, a superhero.
Speak Spanish. This is an English-speaking show.
It is, but there's that SAP on the bottom, something. But he's a superhero.
You are right. The Hall of Fame will be at the SAP Center in San Jose.
It is at the SAP Center in San Jose. It's going to be fantastic. It should be that way anyhow. But, I mean, Sting makes his Raw debut.
Unannounced, unhyped, unspeculated.
Well, if you'd follow me on Twitter, you would have seen the spoils.
Had to unfollow.
I know you did. Great for Sting, though. I mean, it's brilliant that they brought him back on Raw. Here's why. Okay? Because now it's a whole new audience gets to see Sting again. Now the people wonder, well, hey, is he going to be in Philadelphia?
For the Royal Rumble. Let's go home show.
Is he going to be one of the 30 that's going to be in the Rumble? Well, now I'm going to get the network. They are using Sting exclusively to sell the network.
I think there's a greater story being told here. Sting will have a match in WWE, that I guarantee.
Well, of course.
The question is against who, and we're going to talk much more about that later as we go deeper into the outlook, if you will, for the next month in professional wrestling.
Say deeper in the Stinger. That sounds funny.
Later on in this 1 hour broadcast, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. But it was good to see Sting, regardless of the reason for that night. But keep in mind, the night, Monday night, was all wrapped around the Raw reunion. And what a start to the show with John Cena, Brock Lesnar, The Authority, Seth Rollins, all having necessary conversation to get people to either buy it on pay-per-view or to buy the network. I thought it was very successful. While long, successful.
I think they have done an amazing job of making Brock Lesnar relevant the week before the pay-per-view.
Was he not?
Yes, because he hasn't been on TV. He hasn't done much. He just shows up.
Weeks he's been on TV.
He has, but now he's talking. Now he's being a part of the show.
Baby.
Now he's being a character.
Baby.
Baby. Absolutely. So Brock Lesnar is starting to become relevant on Raw as the WWE World Champion.
Here's the thing. Yesterday on Feedback Friday, which is available at PWRshow.com, we talked about believability. We had some questions from some of you about the believability factor. And a ticked off Brock Lesnar is the most believable character in wrestling.
There's only one person I'd be more terrified of.
Who dat?
Mark Henry.
Angry?
He's the world's strongest man.
Well, if you're a sound guy.
Yeah.
Talk to the audience.
Yeah.
But believability, folks, you know if Brock Lesnar's upset, and when Brock Lesnar wants to fight, he really does want to fight. And he's got two men he's got to face this Sunday on pay-per-view. We'll talk about that and Be the Booker later on tonight, and John Cena and Seth Rollins. But the other story, as we got to the beginning where that match was made, where John Cena would have the opportunity, while not knowing who he was going to face, would have the opportunity to get the jobs back of the three men he got fired, if you will. They're back. We didn't see them on Raw, but we did see them on SmackDown. Ziggler, Harper, Rowan. You keep getting those two confused. And Ryback.
Amazing. They're so opposite. But that's okay. I get it. It's
Dolph Ziggler endorsed. I would assume you're happy to see him back.
I am happy to see Dolph Ziggler back. Why? Because that's what the people want to see. They love Dolph Ziggler. I'm happy to see Ryback back.
Was this worth it?
No, it wasn't.
The firing, the rehiring,
You know why it's not worth it? Because there's no story being told. Everything happens so fast. If you're going to fire him, sit him home for a couple months.
I mean, they did for a couple weeks.
2 weeks. Make the fans truly want them back.
Should they have potentially invaded WWE to try to get their jobs back? Could they have been like, well, you can even go back to the Outsiders in WCW. You can even go back to the, what was it, Revolution? What was
Revolution.
When Benoit and Guerrero and whatnot came in from WCW?
I honestly, I wish, and I've said this on the show, I've said it on Twitter, I would have rather have seen them come back under wrestling masks.
As the
I didn't say hoods.
Conquistadors, you said, right?
The Machines. Just so it's obvious that's who they are, and it makes more sense.
Well, it was a Raw reunion, folks, and the NWO comes to the ring. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and also X-Pac come to the
Outsiders.
ring. The Outsiders.
The Clique, the Wolf Pack.
And they are joined, or interrupted rather, by the Ascension. Now, the Ascension, who we've seen destroy tag teams on Raw and SmackDown for the last few weeks. Well, their challenge, if you will, to the NWO brought out JBL, who went back to his John Bradshaw days and his APA days as he welcomed back, excuse me, getting all choked up. Yeah. You know JBL's a wrestling god. He's on my top 15.
He's one of your favorites, yes.
Brought back Ron Simmons, the APA in the ring. That wasn't enough, though.
It was not enough.
Because then it was the New Age Outlaws joining. It was Billy Gunn, and it was also the Road Dogg, Jesse James.
The D-O-double-G.
As well. A segment that was a bit crowded, but fun, all in all.
The amazing thing is you have Hall and Nash.
And X-Pac.
Well, but Hall and Nash, former WCW World Tag Team Champions. Mm-hmm. You have the Acolytes, the APA, former WWE Tag Team Champions. Road Dogg and Billy, former WWE Tag Team Champions. You have X-Pac, who's been DX and NWO. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 guys, 7 baby faces.
Uh-huh.
Only 3 of them took a bump. Bradshaw, the clothesline from hell.
Which is, again, just fantastic.
And then, of course, there's Road Dogg and Billy. And, it's funny because you see the Ascension out there, and you're kind of like, hey, Donut Head, who's trying to kill you kind of thing. And it doesn't make any sense at all. It's like those 2 guys come out there to pick a fight with 2 of the biggest dogs in the park. Hall and Nash.
What did this do to the Ascension this past Monday night?
It made them relevant.
Huh?
Yes.
What?
Yes. It was one of the best things that could have happened to the Ascension.
Please, I'll give you a forum to speak and explain that right here, right now.
Promise? Here's why. Because we're going to go in. They now have a match at the Royal Rumble with Road Dogg and Billy.
They absolutely do.
It's not a pre-show match. It is on the main card. Mm-hmm. Okay? So if they were trying to bury or kill off the Ascension, they wouldn't give them a match against the former 7-time WWE Tag Team Champions of the world.
Who last performed on WrestleMania last year. Correct?
Yes, where they got destroyed, I think.
By the Shield.
By the Shield. It's perfect. The Ascension is going to do exactly that this weekend. They're going to ascend. They're going to get past this.
Well, I can't wait to see how you treat that matchup in Be the Booker, which is still to come on this program. And as a matter of fact, speaking of still to come, we're going to take a time out. Let's go to Linda Kay, talk about what we're going to see next here on PrimeTime.
Coming up next on PWR Primetime, more discussion on WWE, including the return of Tough Enough and the return of Daniel Bryan.
Ring of Honor returns to Milwaukee. The Turner Hall Ballroom, Friday, March 13th at 7:30 p.m. Visit ROHWrestling.com now for tickets and info.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report. Prime time here at My 24 Milwaukee. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero here on Saturday, January 24, 2015. Tomorrow night, the Royal Rumble on pay-per-view and the WWE Network. Coming up later in this broadcast, we shall fantasy book, if you will, be the booker for tomorrow's Royal Rumble. Can't wait to see how you're going to treat that main event matchup. Seth Rollins, Mr. Money in the Bank versus John Cena
not the main event.
versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
The main event is the Royal Rumble.
Speaking of Royal Rumble, last year's Royal Rumble was the story of a man who didn't win it and wasn't in it, and that was Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan this past week back on SmackDown last week, then Raw with a great matchup this past week, and then got his spot in the Rumble on Thursday's SmackDown. But what a journey Daniel Bryan has had back, and quite frankly, in the matches we've seen him in so far, all three of them, his style has not slowed down at all.
No, which for me is insane. It's a little bit crazy. I thought for sure that Daniel Bryan would have slowly, gradually tried to get his in-ring talents back. Show some of the ring rust. Don't go from 0 to 60 in the first match.
He went from 0 to 70.
He did, and I much would have rather have seen him try and fail certain things, but he's been doing that in some of his matches. He came up short on Raw. You know? And he only beat Kane.
Well, Kane was involved in him coming up short on Raw.
It doesn't matter. It just tells the story that he's not quite there yet. He's not at the Wrestlemania main event caliber of talent yet. He has the talent, but he needs to get back there.
Back up. He's not yet where?
He's not main event talent yet.
Really?
But hold on. I'm not saying he's not a main event guy. I'm saying that they're telling the story that the guy that had neck surgery and arm surgery is slowly rehabbing his body back to become a main event talent. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Not really, because his in-ring performance didn't give that indication at all.
But he came up short. He's not winning
he lost
the
the
matches.
match, one of three. And Kane got involved.
But the SmackDown match was a no DQ match, and he had help there with the win.
Assistance.
Yes, assistance. So I prefer the story that he's back being the little engine that could.
The little engine that could. Folks.
That's the storybook. Okay, that's the nursery rhyme. Okay.
Why in the story with Kane though? And my question: what have they done to Kane? This corporate Kane crap. It's just Kane's almost a parody of himself at this point.
I don't get it.
Wrestling in a pair of slacks and...
But you know what? He can't be the big red machine anymore.
Why not?
It's been 15 years, 16, 17
Undertaker's
years.
been doing it for 30.
But Taker takes a year off in between matches.
But is he part-time or full-time?
He's a quarter-time.
Quarter-time. Is Brock Lesnar part-time or full-time?
He's part-time.
So Undertaker's quarter-time, Brock Lesnar's part-time.
Remember
all the hoopla last year over a part-timer beating the Undertaker and winning and defeating the streak?
Yes. Yes, I agree.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Again, interesting to be the booker later on, because I think a lot of people out there, as a matter of fact, we asked on Twitter earlier in the week, and overwhelmingly, you said that you expected Daniel Bryan to win the Royal Rumble match tomorrow.
I never said that.
They
did.
Them.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Let's not confuse us.
We'll talk about that later. And a show that you may remember, folks, Tough Enough, WWE Tough Enough, is returning to the USA Network. Apparently this time, though, there'll be some live elements to the show, and they are currently casting out who will be the participants.
I heard Linda Kay wants to enroll, try to be a Tough Enough contestant.
Is that right?
Yes.
Huh.
Wouldn't that be
ask her
awesome?
about that. Well, yeah, I mean, she's right here.
Well, we'll ask her about it.
Tough Enough. We don't know if Steve Austin's going to be involved. He was the host last time it aired. Interesting to know that it's on the USA Network and not the WWE Network.
Because they have to give programming to the guy that's paying the bills.
You looking forward to it?
Tough Enough? I love Tough Enough because it tells stories. You get invested in these different people, these different talents.
All right, folks, that's this week's WWE Report. Let's move on now and talk about TNA Impact Wrestling. And obviously, last night on Destination America, it was a feast or fired matchup. The winners, the people actually grabbing briefcases, Austin Aries, Magnus, your dear close personal friend David Hero, the endorsed rock star Spud, and the beautiful people who all grab suitcases, but we don't know yet, David Hero, who gets fired of those groups. Now, presumably the beautiful people grabbing it for the Bromans, Jesse Goddard's and Robbie E, along with DJ Zima Ion. But a good matchup, and, well, I know who won't be fired.
Who's that?
Spud.
Why not?
He's their best talent.
Really?
He's their best overall performer. Rockstar Spud is their best overall performer in TNA Impact Wrestling.
Over Austin Aries?
He is the best overall performer in Impact Wrestling. Rockstar Spud is.
That's interesting that you would say that. It is a headline. That's a huge. So you're endorsing him?
I did that months ago.
You did do that months ago. I mean, TNA Impact Wrestling on Destination America. They're getting there. Feast or fired, I like the concept because it's like, who's going to get fired? I mean, you know.
They did well with it last year. Remember, they never mentioned it, and I think they forgot about it until it was cashed in.
Which one?
Late in the year.
The tag title? Mm-hmm. Storm and Abyss?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But Gunner got a world title shot. Who got fired last year?
Didn't Gunner get it like the next week, though?
He may have, yeah.
It was very swiftly, it seemed.
Yeah, well, that made sense, you know. But I'm trying to think who got fired last year. I remember that Sean Daivari got fired one year.
Well, remember, Rockstar Spud won't get fired this year.
Okay.
Good concept, good matchup. We'll find out, I believe, next week who picked which briefcase and who will be fired from Impact Wrestling.
It's going to be interesting because also next week they're traveling to the UK. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be taping TV over there.
Thank God.
A lot. Yeah, that'll be good TV.
It'll look like people are there.
Well, because there will be. They'll have the entire building lit, and that always helps.
Not just row 1 and 2?
Not just, they didn't even have row 1 lit. At least from what
Maybe there was a glare issue off of JB's head. And they had to turn the lighting down.
You know, well, I know what that's like.
Matt Hardy versus James Storm also occurring last night on Impact Wrestling. Abyss, of course, getting involved. Speaking of Abyss, David Hero, we received some interesting video in the offices earlier this week.
Yeah,
from Abyss.
Yeah. This. I don't understand.
You haven't answered his question. He gave you 30 days to fire me or accept a match with him at Blizzard Brawl this year.
I can't fire you.
That's what makes it great. You can't escape this one. You're locked in.
There's ways around everything.
There's not a way around this one. There is not a way around this one, folks. Abyss, we'll get to that video later, by the way, folks. Abyss with a special message for David Hero. But Jeff Hardy coming out making the save. Now made for next week. It's Jeff Hardy versus Abyss in a Monsters Ball match.
You know, let's go back to Matt Hardy and James Storm. Matt Hardy has done an amazing job of resurrecting his career.
Did it die?
Well, remember,
he went through some rough patches.
He went through a hell of a rough patch.
Yes.
Remember the whole suicide thing?
I remember, yes.
I mean, everything was just so kabuki-ish. And he's got himself back on track. It's like he hasn't missed a beat in the ring. He's a star again. Mm-hmm. And
Ring of Honor and TNA. And wherever else he wants to work.
He's more TNA Impact Wrestling. He's going to be in Milwaukee in a couple weeks also for the Admirals. But I'm just so proud, I'm so happy that Matt Hardy was able to turn it around and just recapture everything that he almost lost.
Awesome Kong is back, ladies and gentlemen. We saw that a couple of weeks ago, and this week again it was another stare down with Havoc. These two could be a stiff, brutal knockouts match.
Oh, you're not going to see any Hurricane Ranas in that match. I mean, you're not. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what those two are going to do. I mean, it's two big, aggressive women that are going to punch and kick.
Kohath? And
punch and kick. I would hate to be the referee. I would hate to be Brian Hebner in that match.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Well, overall, TNA Impact Wrestling on Destination America. Bell to bell, folks. Still some of the best wrestling on television. Unless you've tuned into New Japan Pro Wrestling on AXS, the Access TV channel.
Wow, look at you.
Which also debuted last week. That, quite frankly, could be the best wrestling on American television right now. But as far as TNA goes in Destination America, bell to bell, great action. Overall, though, your thoughts after week 2 in their normal night on Fridays?
On Friday nights, I think TNA is making improvements. They're still figuring everything out, what direction they want to go in. They've been re-signing talents lately. They re-signed Jesse Goddard's. Mm-hmm. They re-signed Robbie E. They re-signed Abyss. You know, and there's a few others that they're working on.
They're going to let Abyss come beat you up for...
Abyss is not coming to beat me up. Just stop.
You're in denial.
At the end of the day, I'm still the guy that promotes the show. I still put the pen to paper. I'm not going to...
we're going to find out later on about some names that are added to the Shenanigans VIP Club Party as part of WrestleMania weekend. But let's spoil one thing right now. And one name that is going to be appearing and will be a part of the event is former TNA knockout Tara, former WWE diva Victoria, owner of the Great Squared Circle restaurant in Chicago, Illinois. But she was on JR's podcast this week and had some pointed things to say about Dixie Carter. And apparently didn't realize that her and Dixie had a falling out, and
Oh, it was more than a falling out.
It was a bit more than a falling out.
It's just not going back to TNA anytime soon.
Tara saying that basically the failure of that company will be as a direct result of Dixie Carter.
Yeah. Well, she's not looking to go back to TNA.
That's this week's TNA Impact Wrestling Report, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for that TNA journey, if you will.
Coming up next on PWR Primetime, this week's hot news, Diamond of the Ring, a special message from TNA star Abyss, along with Be the Booker for tomorrow's Royal Rumble pay-per-view.
The insurance company may try to stop you from getting what's fair.
After my car wreck, the insurance company just wasn't helping me, so I said stop, and I called Gruber Law Offices.
Be careful. Call us right away.
They better be careful. Now I've got Gruber Law Offices.
Call us. Let us get started on your case right now.
They put the green light on my case and got me $65,000.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Call 276-6666.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time here on My 24 Milwaukee. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero, and what a show it has been so far, but so much more to go as we go one full hour tonight here on the preview and the eve of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, which is tomorrow.
Rumble.
Always so great is the Rumble. Last year we were there for it in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Tomorrow it is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Won't be in attendance for this particular one, but always a great event is the Royal Rumble. There may not be a more exciting match each and every year than that.
Because you get to see different matchups. You get to
participate. Count down.
Besides, who cares
like
about
Beyonce
counting down? It's the fact that you get to see different matchups you wouldn't normally see in the ring.
Okay, one different match you would normally see in the ring.
No.
Until the Andre the Giant Invitational Battle Royal.
No. Remember when Ric Flair won the Rumble?
I'm talking tomorrow, not 1992.
And in 92, when the WWE had the Rumble, had the Rumble, and Ric Flair was in it, and the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich was in it, and the Ultimate Warrior, and Hulk Hogan, and the Macho Man, and all those amazing stars, you got to see different matchups you wouldn't normally see in a regular traditional match.
Speaking of which, the legends this past Monday night on Raw, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan, and a forum. Byron Saxton, by the way, did a very good job with that segment, normally handled by Jerry Lawler. But Roman Reigns, the man who stood tall, and really, really getting a rub out of that segment.
Oh, huge pop for him.
He's endorsed.
He comes down to save Hogan, Shawn Michaels, and Ric Flair. Who would have thought that Hulk Hogan or Shawn Michaels or even Ric Flair would need saving? Talk about three of the most dominant superstars.
We're going to hear more from you about Roman Reigns later on in this broadcast in DWHS. But before that, folks, let's go to this week's Hot News, which is all the hottest wrestling news stories of the week. We talked earlier about Sting, and it has been announced that Sting is going to be participating in WWE Access during WrestleMania weekend in San Jose. Sting will be appearing at 10 a.m. on Sunday, the same day as WrestleMania. So get details on all the stars appearing at Access right now at WWE.com. Any noteworthy thing about the fact that he is appearing Sunday morning, the day of the show, where he's expected to potentially wrestle?
Not at all. I mean, why is that surprising? It's 10 a.m. The show's not until 4 p.m.
He's 53.
Yeah.
Might want some time to stretch, warm up, get ready, talk about the match.
He'll be fine. Believe me, that match will be well scripted up before they even get there to WrestleMania.
WWE Hall of Famer Jim Ross and TNA play-by-play announcer Josh Matthews, who of course formerly is of WWE, got into a bit of a heated Twitter exchange this past weekend. It all began when Jim Ross tweeted, and I quote, UFC Boston and on Fox Sports won tonight while battling the NFL playoffs. An excellent idea. Now, Josh Matthews then tweeted, and I quote, "Why anyone would say UFC won the night over NFL is beyond me. Please stop. It's not a fair fight. If you are over 60, just go away." End quote. Jim Ross then responded saying to Josh Matthews, "That's a little stiff, remark. I'm over 60 and not going away. Didn't expect this from you." Now back and forth it went. Matthews then, with his goal in the tennis match, said, "JR, it was stiff. I get that. Sometimes you got to call it like you see it. After 13 years, I get to be open and express what I'm thinking via Twitter. Backlash is expected and understandable, but I'm speaking my mind." And the final word, Matthews said, "Look, the tweet was out of character and disrespectful to JR, and I'm sorry. I'll continue to speak my mind, but in a respectful/proper way."
That was stupid. Here's
must
why.
be some heat there.
Well, no, but here's why. I don't know how many Twitter followers Josh Matthews has. I know JR has over 1 million. Okay? You are now the new guy in TNA. They're trying to build a successful brand in TNA. And now you have the new guy who, he's been around for 13 years, is going after... You got to say he's iconic, Jim Ross.
Absolutely. In the fans' minds, absolutely.
Okay? Whew. That's not a fight I want to pick.
WWE announced earlier in the week that WrestleMania 32 will take place at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas.
But you know what? Hold on. At the same time, though, Jim Ross did mention Josh Matthews by Twitter name to over 1 million people.
In the press conference attended by Hulk Hogan, Triple H, Stephanie and Vince McMahon, it was announced that the event will be held on April 3rd, 2016, and a record 100,000 fans are expected to be in attendance.
Crazy.
That's it for this week's Hot News,
You know what
ladies and
that
gentlemen.
means? I wouldn't be surprised if Hogan tries to get on that show.
Payday.
Besides
There's
that.
no chance.
No.
He'll appear. He's
Hold
an
on a
ambassador.
second. Because he had 93,000 in the Silverdome.
93173.
You know he wants to break that and be a part of 100. Ego's involved. And maybe he can work around it.
Not going to happen, pal. That's it for this week's Hot News. Let's go to this week's Ring of Honor report. Ring of Honor Wrestling, David Hero. You know, the show that preceded us here on My 24 Milwaukee. And they've got a big 13th anniversary show coming to pay-per-view from Las Vegas on March 1st in just over a month's time. And lots of options out there for the commissioner, the owner, whatever his gimmick is, Nigel McGuinness, to deciding that if Jay Briscoe really wants to get this thing and wants to defend properly, then what better place than Las Vegas, Nevada? It's official, and it's going to be live on pay-per-view on March 1st.
He's pot committed now.
It is a high-stakes, four-corner survival match for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. Jay Briscoe defending against Michael Elgin, Tommaso Ciampa, and Hanson. 4 men, 1 title, Las Vegas,
Hanson's
Nevada.
a 3-man group.
They broke up.
So now just the lead singer from Hanson's in that match?
Bob.
Wow. That's crazy.
Ring of Honor Wrestling, by the way, looking better on TV in my opinion. And later on, actually, we're going to do a little bit of a discussion, David Hero, about who's number 2 right now. I think it's a valid question, especially looking at TNA's viewership since they moved to Destination America. Who is the number 2 wrestling company in America right now? We'll talk about that later here on the Pro Wrestling Report. But right now, folks, let's go to Linda Kay over in the Event Center with some big news about our Wrestlemania weekend events.
Welcome to the PWR Event Center, brought to you by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. GLCW returns to Circle B on January 31st. Sean X-Pac Waltman will headline the show, along with the best talents in independent wrestling. Get all the details now at blizzardbrawl.com. Complete your Wrestlemania weekend with the official PWR endorsed weekend plan. It all starts Friday, March 29th, when PWR returns to WrestleCon, where you can meet all the stars of pro wrestling and even be a part of a special primetime TV special that will be taped at WrestleCon. Following WrestleCon on Friday night, join us at the Shenanigans VIP Club Party at the San Jose Bar and Grill, located next to the Convention Center, hosting NXT and Access. Appearing at the party will be Kevin Nash, Thea Rosita Trinidad, Melina, and Zima Iron will be the official DJ for the night, and admission includes a red carpet meet and greet with these stars and free food and free drinks all night long. Also appearing at the VIP party will be Mr. Pectacular Jesse Goddards, Gunner, Ken Anderson, and Al Snow. Then on Sunday, you can join the PWR team in a private VIP suite for WrestleMania at Levi's Stadium for the 5th annual Sweet and Sexy. Tickets for all these events are very limited and are available now at pwrshow.com. That's it for this week's Event Center, brought to you by Gruber Law Offices.
David Hero, the owner and operator of Great Lakes Championship Wrestling. You see, David, I gave you 30 days. 30 days to do something very simple. And that was to fire Damian Nelson from all inclusion in any Great Lakes Championship Wrestling activities, to release him of his duties. And you didn't meet my 30-day requirement, David. 30 days has passed, and then some. But still, Damian continues to be employed by you. David, this is your last warning. This is the last time I will warn you. Fire him immediately, or else.
Yes. You are completely and totally messed over. I love it. I love it. I have gotten Abyss away from thinking about me and on to thinking about you.
Seriously, it doesn't make any sense.
Why doesn't it make any sense?
Because I had nothing to do with it. You're the one that had to get involved with him and Tommy Dreamer. Seriously. But I don't think it's fair that I'm put in a spot where I have to fire you now.
You can't fire me. That's the thing. That's the joy of this situation, is you have no way out. You have no chance of wiggling your way out of this one. You did not answer, did not do what Abyss told you to do. Thus, now you must have a match.
If I can't get rid of you, I've tried.
You gonna have that match at Break It Down, the next GLCW event? You ready to take on Abyss?
No. X-Pac is going to be at Break.
XPAC?
Yes, the XPAC Break It Down a week from tonight. Circle B in Cedarburg, but
you better start training.
For what? Seriously.
Abyss to destroy you. Destroy you.
You know what is actually #hurtful?
What's that?
You enjoy this.
I thoroughly enjoy this because, again, I've sat here for years after year after year watching you get yourself into situations that have caused me great pain and struggle and strife, and then you wiggle your way out of them.
But you always get a great story out of it.
This one I will enjoy from beginning to end. From last year's Blizzard Brawl to whenever you make this match or accept this match, which you have no choice to do, by the way. And if Abyss comes walking in the studio and comes after you, much like he did me, I'm running like you ran, and I will not protect you.
I lock the door, and you have to sign in again in the studio.
Oh, he's on the list. He's on the list.
You guys are buddies all of a sudden?
Absolutely. Well, given what he's trying to do to you, absolutely. Enough of that. Thank you, Abyss. It's time to go to this week's Diamond of the Ring.
I'm kind of at a loss for words, but this week's Robert Hack Diamond of the Ring, there's actually too many diamonds to pick just one. John Cena brings back order to the Force, balance to the Force in WWE by winning his match over Seth Rollins with the help of Sting, who could be a Diamond of the Ring, who brings back Dolph Ziggler, who had a big victory, could be a Diamond of the Ring. Ryback beat Rusev by countout, could be Diamond of the Ring. But I'm going to give the Diamond of the Ring.
Diamonds you got?
I have lots of diamonds, but there's only one person I trust when I'm buying diamonds, and that's Robert Hack Diamond. So I'm going to give my Diamond of the Ring to Brett Uhlberg of Robert Hack Diamonds, who suffered a heart attack this week. He's on the mend. He's getting better, stronger day by day. He's the manager of Team Snow. So this week's Robert Hack Diamond of the Ring is my good, close, personal, longtime super friend, Brett Uhlberg.
And get well wishes, of course, go out to our dear friend Brett of Robert Hack Diamonds, the supporter of this segment, Diamond of the Ring.
When you're diamond shopping, variety is important. At Robert Hack Diamonds, we'll show you multiple diamonds side by side underneath the microscope and show you what to look for when buying a diamond. GIA graduate gemologists are on staff for expert diamond grading. Robert Hack has affordable prices on all diamonds, including diamonds certified by the GIA. Need a mounting for your diamond? Our selection is huge. Buy your diamonds today at Robert Hack Diamonds or visit roberthackdiamonds.com.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, Pro Wrestling Report, prime time, Saturday night for January 24, 2015. And we are about to go into overtime, if you will, David Hero.
Huge
One
overtime.
full hour tonight, our first hour-long show here on My 24 Milwaukee. I want to thank all the great people here at My 24 Milwaukee for affording us this opportunity to come at you once a month with, come at me, bro, with 1 hour of great PWR content preceding each pay-per-view. Tomorrow night, the Royal Rumble coming up in just a little while. Let's be the booker for the Royal Rumble. But first, we talked earlier about Ring of Honor. We talked a little about TNA as well. And I think it's important to, at this point, look at where we are in the state of wrestling in America, if you will, between the three companies, WWE, TNA, and Ring of Honor Wrestling. And it has long been known and established that number two has been TNA. But even a couple of years ago, it came up as a question as to, is TNA really number two, if you will? And I think now you have to look at the fact that just last week on Destination America, they drew some 400,000 viewers. Great for that station, great for that channel, but only a fourth of, or nearly half, under half rather, of what they were drawing on Spike TV.
They have half the audience.
They are in fewer homes and fewer homes are available. Yet you've then got Ring of Honor, who's on the Sinclair broadcasting channels, including this one, available to somewhat of a similar audience size each and every week as well. Who's number two, David Hero? Who is that? Who is the second, the number two ranked wrestling company in the United States right now on television between the three? If you base it on exposure alone, not revenues, profits, anything like that, we don't have access to that information, but exposure alone.
I think that more wrestling fans would pick Ring of Honor.
Why so?
Just because they're more Ring of Honor friendly. People are anti-TNA. It really doesn't matter how good or how bad TNA is, people will always find the bad in that company.
The name is tarnished.
It's been damaged. It's not even, it's damaged, not tarnished. I wish it was just tarnished.
Could you put some varnish on it?
If it was
To
just
untarnish
tarnished,
it?
yeah, but it's damaged, so you need duct tape. And there isn't enough duct tape right now to fix a damaged brand unless you remove some of the people that have damaged it, which they haven't done. So, all that being said, I would say number two right now is Ring of Honor Wrestling. Just because...
How does it feel saying that? Do you believe that?
Well, because I'm saying it, so of course I believe it. Everyone would say, "Oh no, you're crazy. It's TNA." Why? Because they have a bigger payroll. Because they have, bigger name value or bigger name brands on their show. Because they have Jeff Hardy and Kurt Angle. No, I mean, Ring of Honor Wrestling consistently goes out there and puts on a fantastic show.
In the same building that TNA ran 3 nights in, Ring of Honor can draw about 2,000 people. TNA struggled to draw 1,000 on their biggest night.
It's because but Ring of Honor is an East Coast company.
They're established in that market. You're exactly
right.
right.
Yes, they are. So it's not fair to say that.
TNA's been there 3 times in the last year. About as much as Ring of Honor has.
Right, but Ring of Honor has the East Coast fan base.
East Coast family?
Yes.
ABC?
Them too.
DVD?
Yes, the East Coast family, yes.
Well, maybe not fair to TNA to at least even ask that question right now because they've only been on Destination America for a couple of weeks, but their exposure has dropped substantially.
We're doing the body of work. I mean, they've both been around for a similar amount of time.
Absolutely, about the same amount of time.
Okay,
by the way.
and they're both running in the same type of buildings.
Yes, they are.
So it's a fair comparison.
They're both presenting about the same kind of TV product.
Yeah, I think Ring of Honor had a better production last week than TNA did the last two.
Absolutely, they did. Well, folks, it's time to take yet another time out, and when we come back, well, why don't we just have Linda tell us what's going to happen when we come back.
Coming up next on PWR Primetime, this month's Top 5, DHHS, and Be the Booker for tomorrow's Royal Rumble pay-per-view. But we need you to do us a favor during this timeout. Head over to WrestlingRadioAwards.com and vote for PWR, which has been nominated as the 2014 Broadcast Wrestling Show of the Year. Again, that's WrestlingRadioAwards.com to vote for PWR.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, the insurance company may try to stop you from getting what's fair.
They better be careful. Now I've got Gruber law officers.
One call, that's all.
Don't miss your chance to catch the best pro wrestling on the planet. Ring of Honor returns to Milwaukee at the Turner Hall Ballroom Friday, March 13th at 7:30 p.m. with appearances by The Briscoes, Red Dragon, Jay Lethal, and many more. Experience body slamming, brain busting, pro wrestling action live. Visit ROHWrestling.com now for tickets and info.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, Pro Wrestling Report, prime time, Saturday night here on My 24 Milwaukee, and it's time for this month's Top 5. Top 5, at least in my opinion, for the month of January. Number 5 goes out to the man who I said is the best overall performer in TNA Impact Wrestling earlier in this broadcast. His name, Rockstar Spud, who just continues to excel and shine on the microphone in the ring and overall in Impact Wrestling. Number 4 goes to Damian Sandow, not just because of his name, but because he is indeed the best stunt double ever. How many of you thought that really was X-Pac this past Monday night on Raw? Number 3 goes to a man who has had one of the best months in the history of professional wrestling, and now he is going to be in the main event tomorrow night for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins, number 3 in the month of January. Number 2, folks, goes to the best talker in the business overall, and a man who's got me wondering if there's going to be a bit of a swerve, if you will, in the Royal Rumble, Paul Heyman. And my number 1 talent for the month of January, because of a spectacular return, we talked about it earlier, goes to none other than Daniel Bryan. Much respect for Daniel Bryan, much admiration for Daniel Bryan, especially given the fact of all that he dealt with over the course of the last several months after his WrestleMania victory. Daniel Bryan, the top star, number 1 in the top 5 this month. Let's throw it over to Linda Kane now with this month's PWR Fantasy Draft update.
There are only 3 events left in the current PWR Fantasy Draft, and the Nelson family is in the lead. After last month's TLC pay-per-view, the family sits on top with 3,315 points, while David Hero's Super Friends have 3,245 points. It's still a close race, and a lot is at stake at tomorrow's Royal Rumble. The winner of the Rumble match is worth 100 bonus points alone. Follow PWR Draft on Twitter to get live updates during the Royal Rumble and to follow along with the scoring.
Thank you, Linda, for that update as to me winning the 2014 PWR Fantasy Draft.
Slightly ahead of me, and it's all going to change tomorrow night.
What do you mean, slightly ahead of you?
Slightly ahead. It's only 70 points.
Oh, I know, because I won them both.
You won them both?
Yeah.
I'm the reigning, defending, current world champion of the world right now.
Two-time draft champion.
That's fine. I'm the most recent and current.
This is Be the Booker, folks, and in this segment we take a look at the upcoming pay-per-view event, in this case tomorrow's Royal Rumble that we've been talking about all night, and we fantasy book it. We give this guy the pencil, we give him the whiteboard, and we go match by match and take a look at it. So what we are going to do first is take a look at the matchup between the Big Show.
It's funny how you say that. I know what you're saying. I get it.
The Big Show and Roman Reigns, the endorsed Roman Reigns.
You're going out of order.
I skipped that on purpose.
Then it's a new day.
I skipped that on purpose.
Okay, fine.
In the interest of time.
Okay, I get it. Whatever you need. This is your show.
Oh, I forgot. You wrote the run sheet.
No, but
So you're aware of our time constraints.
This is why
and now we're wasting it. Let's
Okay,
go.
that's
Let's
fine.
go. Roll.
Okay.
Move. You're nervous, aren't you?
Big
Because
Show
you don't
and-
want to book yourself to
Big
lose.
Show and Roman Reigns. It's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be the two biggest dogs in the yard. Everyone's gonna say Roman Reigns is gonna beat the Big Show. He's on Super Friends team.
He's endorsed. That's what that means.
Oh, okay. But listen, Roman Reigns is gonna come up short against the Big Show in this match. He is. He's gonna lose to the Big Show. He might get pinned, he might get knocked out. It's gonna be the old Spirit of 76 because the Big Show is gonna defeat Roman Reigns in the one-on-one match in the Royal Rumble.
Doesn't make any sense.
It makes awesome sense because I'm gonna book this show for you.
All right, well, fine. I'll give you a chance. Both these men in the Royal Rumble matchup as well. Oh, I see what you might be up to. Okay. Big Show winning the Rumble.
It's called Booking 101.
Tag team gold on the line, or copper in this case, as Team Mizdow goes up against the Usos. Now keep in mind, Damian Sandow reminded this week on WWE TV that he may not need Miz anymore.
But we also have the Naomi factor in this deal.
Naomi?
Naomi. Okay. Usos, Mizdow. No one likes the Miz. No one can stand the Miz. Sandow is the star of this team. If there was no Damian Sandow, Mizdow wouldn't exist.
True.
Right? Usos, the current tag team champions, they've been on a roll. This is where Mizdow breaks up. It's gonna split. It's gonna splinter off in this match.
They're both in the Rumble as well.
And the Rumble is when it happens.
It's better in the Rumble. Then
Usos
Sandow will get more fan support.
Retain their tag titles.
Because of that distraction and confusion?
Because of the shenanigans of the tag match will then boil over into the Rumble match.
Well, it is some Divas action, folks, as the Bella twins will take on Natalya Neidhart and Paige.
You know, twin magic doesn't exist anymore. Because now we can tell them apart. So they can't do their usual shenanigans.
Well, they look close enough alike.
But there's still a
they walk alike. They
big
talk
difference. Natty and Paige. Interesting dynamic of a tag team because you got, I don't want to say a seasoned vet in Natty, but she is. She's been around for a while. And you kind of have the rookie in Paige. If you follow Total Divas, these two haven't been getting along. They haven't been getting along on the show. So they're booking these matches according to that reality-based television show on Sunday nights. That's why you got to go with the Bellas, the sisters. The sisters are going to beat another tag team that's going to splinter off. Look at all these tag matches we got here. It's insane.
It's quite a bit. The next one made after the Legend segment this past Monday night on the Raw reunion. It's the New Age Outlaws coming back together one more time to go up against the Ascension. Now, you talked about this match earlier on in the broadcast.
The Ascension needs a jump start because the last 2 weeks they brought them out, they've had no reaction from the audience. Nobody cares, nobody believes. Everyone looks at them as a Road Warriors or Demolition ripoff. And they've defeated jobber local enhancement talent teams. This is when it all changes. Now you know I'm a Road Dogg and Billy guy. They're super friends. They're coming
I've seen
back.
Billy Gunn in a Nelson family shirt, by the way.
They're coming back for one reason, and that is to put over the Ascension. To jumpstart this tag team to make them relevant. Because by beating the New Age Outlaws at the Royal Rumble, it doesn't hurt the Outlaws. Because like you said, the last time we saw them, they lost in under 2 minutes at WrestleMania. But for the Ascension to beat a legendary tag team like the Outlaws, it now elevates them to challenge the Usos for the Tag Team Championship.
Well, folks, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship will be on the line. Brock Lesnar defending against John Cena, what was to be the final battle, now made a little more interesting by the inclusion of Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins. It is a three-way matchup for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and Brock Lesnar, the champion, not a very happy man as of late.
No, he's not. He's irritated. Why? Because now he not just has to worry about John Cena, he has to worry about Seth Rollins. And that's a big difference.
Sneaky little guy.
He is sneaky. He's kind of shady and he's shifty. And those are the kind of guys you got to look out for. But Brock Lesnar is a beast. He's the beast incarnate. And I honestly believe Seth Rollins was inserted into this match for one reason. To take some crazy bumps, to be the buffer between Cena and Lesnar, and to be the fall guy in the match.
Really?
Because Cena can't afford to lose to Brock Lesnar going into WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar isn't going to drop the belt before WrestleMania.
However, Some are wondering what happens after WrestleMania when Brock's contract is up with WWE.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No,
Will they let him go into WrestleMania as the champion? And if so,
he won't
then
leave
has
as the
to lose
champion.
it.
He's not going to leave as the champion. That's fine. Worry about the contract.
If he leaves, by the way, which I don't believe he is.
If he does leave, he might do both. Who know? You don't know.
Oh, he might want to face Punk in UFC.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. John Cena. I can see Rollins and Lesnar working together.
Could be some awesome stuff, actually.
For most of the match on John Cena. And then eventually, Brock Lesnar grabs Cena Seth Rollins by the throat, F5s him, 1, 2, 3. I can see Lesnar beating Seth Rollins.
Lesnar
Here's
Cena,
why.
WrestleMania.
Here's why. No, not Lesnar Cena WrestleMania. You're not going to see that.
Okay.
Here's why. Brock Lesnar's not going to let a guy a third of his size give him 2 or 3 curb stomps and get away with it.
The guy who's already given him 2 curb stops, you're saying. Seth Rollins.
I'm saying, and get away with it.
Got it.
So here's where Lesnar gives Rollins his receipt.
Well, folks, that is tomorrow. You're saying Brock Lesnar wins,
He
likely
retains.
defeating Seth Rollins. I'm intrigued by the inclusion of either Sting or the Authority in this matchup. Let's see what happens with that.
There's no way
The
Sting
Royal-
or Authority gets involved in this 3-way.
I think you're way off.
You have 2 of the biggest stars in the company. You don't need
Seth Rollins.
anybody else in there.
Folks, it is the Royal Rumble matchup. 30 men will participate, 1 man will win. That man goes to WrestleMania in the main event and presumably a championship matchup. We know the announced participants, but David Hero, let's jump fast forward to the winner of the Royal Rumble 2015, who walks out with the pyro behind the WrestleMania sign as the man going to WrestleMania.
I think that your final 4 is Ambrose, Wyatt, Rusev, Reigns, and throw Big Show in there for the final 5. And I like Roman Reigns, who lost earlier in the night to the Big Show, comes back and knocks the Big Show out of the Rumble to be the Royal Rumble champion.
Whoa! Roman Reigns wins the Rumble?
Roman Reigns Royal Rumble, 4 Rs.
Now, what about Daniel Bryan? A lot of people are going to be rooting for Daniel Bryan
That's
to win
fine.
this matchup.
Everyone can root for him, but Rusev is going to take care of Daniel Bryan.
Folks, the writing's on the wall. I think the answer's right in front of you. You see the new, it's all there. The trucks, the new Raw Open. There's one face that is the face of WWE. It's not Seth Rollins, folks.
It's Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
It's Roman Reigns.
That's Be the Booker, folks. Wow, interesting show you've
You can
done.
DWHS Roman Reigns as winning the Rumble. That's a
coming up.
lock.
Well, maybe you will when you do DWHS in a few moments.
We could do that too.
Big Show over Roman Reigns earlier in the night. The Usos retaining the tag strap. The Bella Twins winning over FT and Page. The Outlaws losing to the Ascension. Brock Lesnar retaining the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And the winner of the 2015 WWE Royal Rumble match, Roman Reigns.
And when that happens, I get another 100 points, and you're finished.
Coming up next, we take an even closer look at the Royal Rumble and discussion on what the plans might be for The Undertaker, Triple H, and Sting at WrestleMania in San Jose.
Tonight is the Royal Rumble and more importantly the start of the Wrestlemania season. With young breakout stars like Ambrose, Rollins, Rusev, Wyatt, and Roman Reigns looking for that moment to elevate them to upper main event card. They all have an opportunity to do so. Rollins is slotted with the 2 biggest stars in the company, John Cena and Brock Lesnar. The rest will be showcased in the Royal Rumble and you have to figure that they will all be among the final 8. Even though the IWC is not a Roman Reigns fan, he makes the most sense to win the Rumble. Forget the awkward promos. He has the it factor, tall, dark, and handsome, which is what the WWE needs right now. They have enough wrestlers and need more workers. Reigns is that guy. Guys want to look like him, and women want to be with him. Cosmetically, Reigns is the new cover guy. His appearance alone makes him a star. You the fans got Daniel Bryan last year. This year, Vince gets his man. And with that, David Hero has spoken.
Well, it looks like Roman Reigns is the guy, at least in your mind, David Hero. Now, how does it feel? Because, I endorsed him months ago, and people laughed, they ridiculed, Dean Ambrose is the star. Dean Ambrose is the best. Dean Ambrose is the
Oh, my God.
We've watched it on the internet for years.
Are you doing that to me right now?
What do you mean?
You're going to CS me? I predicted Roman Reigns a long time ago. When the three first...
You talking about that Eisenberg kid?
Yeah, him. And that reality check character.
Brian Ghoulish?
No, the other one.
I'm not familiar with that. Okay.
When the Shield made their debut, I was like, Roman Reigns is a star. Just look at him. You heard DWHS cosmetically appearance
I heard
alone.
on January 24th, 2015. You go back about a year, and I was the one singing Roman Reigns' praises. Yeah, absolutely. Me doing it. Yes, absolutely. But you know what? Let's not talk about the past. Let's talk about the future, folks. As we round out this week's episode of the Pro Wrestling Report, let's go to our February forecast, if you will, David Hero. What to look for next month.
Your double F.
We're back on the air with you again on, that was Feedback Friday yesterday. Back on the air with you again on February 21st, the night before WWE Fastlane. And WrestleMania will take shape, a ton of shape after tomorrow, especially if, as you say, Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble. But the question will be after tomorrow night, who did win the Royal Rumble? The Royal Rumble.
It's Jameson, man. I'm telling you, it's a killer.
And what challenge will they have to face in February at that pay-per-view event to keep their Mania spot? It's no longer the Elimination Chamber, where many times we've seen that spot on the line. But let's say it is Roman Reigns who wins. Let's say that he does have to put that spot on the line at Fastlane.
There's no reason to.
There's never been a reason to, except to sell the February pay-per-view.
There is no reason to put any Rumble spot on the line ever. You won it. You can't lose it.
I don't think anyone has ever lost it. But it's always been, not always, but in recent years, it's always been on the line.
Mm-hmm. Well, not anymore.
All right, well, what stories will come out of tomorrow's Royal Rumble, and who will be the features of WrestleMania? What is going to happen with people such as Sting, Bray Wyatt, The Undertaker?
Rusev.
Will we even see them tomorrow? And is it going to be what a lot of people want it to be, David Hero, The Undertaker versus Sting at WrestleMania 31?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Why not? Because next year it's going to be in Dallas, Texas.
One whole year from now for a man who can barely wrestle this year.
100,000 people. Taker is from Texas. Sting now lives in Texas.
Nobody knows that.
I'm telling everybody. Now everybody knows that. And then you give Taker...
I bet you didn't know that.
Now it gives Taker another year to heal, to get ready for that match.
There's no healing. He's done. He shouldn't have wrestled last year. You saw the match with Brock Lesnar. It was pathetic. It was a bad match.
It was bad.
If you don't believe that, watch it again. It was a bad match.
It can't happen this year. It's Sting.
Sting's 53. Taker is 46, 7, whatever.
He's older than that. He's closer to 50.
Well, his Wikipedia age.
Well, if anything, have Sting and Taker team up together against the Authority.
Sting needs to be on WrestleMania this year.
Have Sting and Taker against Kane and Triple H in a tag match.
That is disgusting. Absolutely. You can't put The Undertaker in a tag. Firstly, I don't feel that The Undertaker should ever wrestle at WrestleMania again. He has no reason to. The streak is over. He's done.
Wow, you're just mean this week. You know, give it an hour, your true colors come out.
Okay, so if not Taker, then, and that ridiculous tag match you just
makes all the sense in the world.
How about Sting versus Triple H?
I just said that. It should be that match at WrestleMania.
You said a tag match.
Or it'll
Sting
be the
versus
tag.
Triple H,
that's what it's gonna
one-on-one.
be. Yes. Why not? It makes the most sense.
Triple H can make that match good. Not that Sting is bad, but are they putting a placeholder in this Triple H situation until if The Undertaker returns, which historically, folks, has been the night after the February pay-per-view.
He is not going to wrestle Sting in California. There's no way. There's no reason. There's no story built into it.
Taker sells Mania.
Not this year, he's not.
All right. I was the one saying the streak was going to end last year, by the way. Nobody believed that. PWR does return, though, with an all-new edition on Saturday, February 21st, right here on My 24, with Be the Booker for WWE Fastlane on pay-per-view. In the meantime, be sure to check out PWR Live every Monday night after Raw at pwrshow.com. You're going to be able to join Matthew this Monday night, talk a little bit about Raw?
We'll talk about it. I mean, this
I'll be out of town. I'm in Cancun starting Monday.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, Mexico.
Well, I know it's in Mexico. Who doesn't know that?
That's this month's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time, ladies and gentlemen. For Linda Kay and for that guy. This is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on February 21st with another all-new hour-long edition of the show.